All right, guys, I am back and we are going to do the week 7 challenge. I'm like 2 or 3 weeks behind on this. It's Emily's Simply Random challenge. And for week 7, it was winter, crumpled green, graph paper, food packaging, and an old photo. So what I've kind of brought is an old, or not old, but a pizza box, like frozen pizza, which if you don't use it to cut your pizza on, makes a very good alternative to, I like them because they're big and you can make covers out of them. So, and then I brought along one of Amy at Crafty Cat's digitals that's winter-ish. It says Merry Christmas here, but I think we're going to kind of fussy tear that out and just use the poinsettia. And then it also, part of it was an old photo, so we'll use that one. That one is also Amy at Crafty Cat. I apologize, I no longer remember which kit they belong to. And then I brought the antique Mod Podge, my graph paper. I brought some of this green stuff to crumple. So I think that takes care of most of everything we need. Okay. So this antique Mod Podge, I always, whenever I use it, I do a disclaimer. It stinks to high heaven. If you are sensitive, excuse me, at all to scents, you're going to want to rethink that and or only use it like outside. Like if you're able to take your projects outside, that's always a good alternative, but it's very smelly. I ordered it off of Amazon. So anywho, we're going to be making a cover. It doesn't really necessarily have any particular use as of right now. We might change that later, obviously. So anyways, let's get started. All right, so I am still having crazy busy life. Yeah, kind of hard to explain, but yeah, it's just keeps getting busier and busier and busier. I'm still working overtime, which is awesome for paychecks, but it sucks to get anything else done. So what I'm doing really is just, yeah, and we're gonna have to put up with the dogs because they're outside and they are so rambunctious. There's no way I'm bringing them in the house. I bathed them all yesterday, and I don't know if your bathed dogs do this, but they go nuts for a few days after they've been bathed. It's kind of, I mean, while it's kind of funny, it's kind of not because it's obnoxious, but yeah, they've been barking all morning. And yeah. So yeah, I'm just using a whole sheet of graph paper on the, or not whole sheet, but you get what I'm saying. And then I'm just gonna kind of trim it up a little bit. And I'll probably line this other side with some what am I trying to say? Inside paper, or like Christmas paper, and we probably won't use this cover until like next fall when we're doing Christmas, but okay. Sometimes it takes a hot minute to get those edges to stick, but eventually they do. Oh, those dogs are driving me nuts. So, and I do most of all the grooming on my own, and so grooming 4 dogs yesterday was kind of a chore. Okay, so and then this stuff is stuff I get at Home Depot in the painter section. Oops, and it doesn't always rip the way I want it to. So I'm going to crumple it up. So when creators say you really can use anything, they really mean you can use anything. truly, 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 you can use just about anything on your projects. And I don't want to take too much out of the crumple. I'm going to go ahead and start coating this other side because the back cover is going to be just this. I haven't quite decided how I want to do this front piece yet. And the reason for the antique Mod Podge is it puts, once you get all your layers on and stuff and you coat it in that, it puts like a really pretty brown into it, like antique. I'm not going to smooth down too much. I'm just really just patting all these down. So again, it looks crumpled. I want it wrinkly, right? Okay. And for me, I usually go a little bit at a time with Mod Podge. I find that works better for me. Oh, and I should say I cut this cardboard down to 9 by 12. And you really could use regular Mod Podge with this portion right here. And I probably should have, but I didn't want to have two Mod Podges out, and then I didn't want to like, I didn't want to blend the two, like, you know, have water sitting over here, because I'll just, once I'm done with the video, I'm just going to go rinse out my brush. So like I said, I go a little at a time, because when I get to about here, I'm going to stop. And then we're going to kind of decide how we want the rest of this to go, as far as what we'd like. How we'd like this picture to look. And I would take your time making sure your creases are down so that later on you don't have bubbles coming up. Because Mod Podge does like to bubble up a little bit, as does any other glue. I mean, it's not Mod Podge specific, but okay. Just kind of lay that back a little bit. Okay. Now, I was thinking that we would put this here, and then we would lay the poinsettia on top. So, let's see, I want to have enough to kind of come over and clean enough back. So, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Go ahead and ink around this. Okay, take this as lightly as I can. Really get enough glue to seal it down without wrinkling it too much. And it looks like my graph paper is going to bleed a little bit, which I kind of already surmised as much, and that's okay. That'll be all right. Okay. Now I'm going to take, get my, I don't want black. I'm getting a pad out here. That's not walnut stain. Let me grab another little dauber thing here. Oops. I just lost it down the back side. One of these little dauber things I lost down the back side. And that was walnut stain, regular distress ink, not the oxide. And I still have to cook today, guys. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're getting there. We are getting there. Okay, that all seems pretty dry on the back side there, so I'm just going to flip this over. And as carefully as I can, I'm going to cut it as close as I can to the edge. Because I think I'm going to end up sewing around it. Maybe? Not sure. Another thing you can do, since we'll have to back of this side anyways, is you could just wrap it around and glue it down to the back, which that would actually put in a nice edge of the cardboard. And that's in fact probably what I should have done, but I did not. So that's okay. So there we have that. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and take that walnut stain and go around the edges, kind of darken those up. And I'm not worried about the graph paper being so white because it won't be after we get done with the antique Mod Podge. And then I'm just going to add a little bit in here because the Mod Podge will drag some of that color. Okay. Now, if you don't have Distress Oxide, but you have stain, you can use stain instead. I'm going to have to glue a little bit more on that edge. Sometimes they don't like to stick down on the corners. That's when you say, I'm going to make it stick anyways, whether you want to or not. That corner's pretty good. Okay. Okay, now let's get our little poinsettia on here. So I'm just going to fussy tear. We could actually do it like that, maybe. I gotta think about that while I tear this out. And then I guess later on down the road, when we have some words, we could, like wintry words maybe. Or do we just want to go back and put it down here? No, I think I like it up there. I wasn't anticipating to like it up there as much as I do, but I do. And I'm not really worried about getting Mod Podge on this outside piece here because we are going to be using this anyways, or we're going to be covering it, so less mess everywhere else, right? I mean, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. And then once we get to Christmas, maybe we'll figure out something to kind of put there. Do you think I want a little more ink? Like I said, it'll drag it. The Antique Mod Podge will drag it. All right. Now we start. Oh, no, we don't. Hold on. Forgot the other part that I wanted to do. Okay, so I am going to take my vintage photo. And I'm just going to go through these creases here. And just add a little bit of depth, really light, just on top of these creases. And it will get drug across again with the Antique Mod Podge. Not really so bad, but it'll just give some definition into those crevices. See how it's already starting to kind of define it? Yep, just light, like so. It gives it a little bit of character. Okay, let's start over here. And one thing, if you're doing this, do not leave all of that Mod Podge up in those crevices. It's better to do 2 coats because it leaves this weird, almost like creamy bubble. It does make it harder per se to Mod Podge wrinkles, but hopefully like this side will be dry by the time we get the other side done, to where you can kind of see the antiquing. Some projects you can tell it on camera really well, and then others not so much. This one you probably won't be able to tell it as much, at least on the green. And I do find the crinkly, if you let the bottom layer dry, kind of how we were just kind of all over, the less bubbles you're going to have. And sometimes you can't help the extra little ridges that you get in there, but probably hear the washer going, huh? Yeah. The weekends are just never long enough, are they? Mod Podge. To really make sure I spread that one out. Ugh, and it's getting windy again. I have a feeling we're not done with winter yet. I mean, it's full-fledged spring, but I'm sure we'll have at least one more. And you probably can't even see what I'm doing down there, huh? I forget how I was so used to so many years having a setup the exact same that I still forget that you can't see it down there at the other end anymore. Okay, I'm gonna call that good on the Mod Podge, at least for now. You can kind of tell how it's starting to dry and how that Mod Podge kind of puts a creamy layer on it. Again, antiqued. I mean, that's what it's supposed to do. So I was hoping that it would be drier before the end of the video, but I don't think that we're gonna make that. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Should I dry it and then come back and show you what it looks like in a few minutes when it's dry? I think I'll probably do that. All right, guys, I will be right back. And it looks like I need to put a little more glue on those edges. So I'll do that, and then when it's dry, I'll come back. All right. Okay, it's mostly dry. We've got a few little spots there, but that'll give you a ballpark idea of what that looks like when it gets done. And then getting closer to Christmas, we'll pick a backing for this side. It'll probably depend on what kit we use. And then we'll probably Mod Podge that on as well. And then I'll sew it, and then that will be an almost completed journal cover. Oh yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, I think this is really cute. I like it. It's original, like to anything that I've done before, so I like that. And then I have poinsettias, so I was like, I wonder if we put a word and like a poinsettia at Christmas over in this corner. But we'll just see what happens in a couple of months. All right, guys, thanks for joining me, and thank you, Emily, for doing this challenge, and we will talk to you guys soon. Bye.